Well, hello everyone. This is Ari Wilkins with the Alabama Broadcast Association, and we just wanted to take a few minutes today to go over the information concerning EAS and more in particular, how do you fill out Form 1 for the ETRS system? And as most of you know, each station must review and update Form 1 in the ETRS system that stands for EAS Test Reporting System. And this has been done all the way back to beginning in 2016, and it's tied into the FEMA sending out the national test every year. There's been a national test sent out most of the time. We did do some during the COVID. We didn't send out, FEMA did not send out any tests for a couple of years. And last year, during 2022, we did not have to update Form 1. Form 1 is just simply a database that has information about your station, such as the address, the call letters, the make and model of your EAS equipment, and the contact information. And the good thing about it is when you go online to actually review that form, all the stuff that you have put in the last time you file will self-populate. And all you have to do is just walk through it to make sure that everything is correct. Some of the stuff may have changed, like your contact information. You may have also maybe even moved your studio or placed your EAS device at a different location than it was back before in 2015. So you do have to log on and go through Form 1. So this form is actually due by February the 28th of this year. That'll be the last day of February of 2023. And we're going to walk through it here in just a second to show you how you log on and how you walk through and fill out that form. Now, before you start, and this is very important, you need to take a pad and sit down and find this information and write it down. And this will save you a lot of time and a lot of headache trying to get logged in and with the correct credentials. So you need, first of all, your ETRS login information. And this will be the username and the password that you created back when you first logged on and filled out Form 1. Could have been as early as 2016 when we started, but then every year after that, you go on and check it to make sure it's correct. So make sure you have your username and your password written down uh, to get into your ETRS site. Now, if you have forgotten your login or maybe you have never filled out a Form 1, there's actually a link on the home page when we go and look at it. I'll show it to you, but there's actually a link on there that you can go in and reset your password. Or if you've never filled out a Form 1, there's actually another link where you can actually go in and set the system up. So the login username and password is important. Secondly, you need to have the federal registration number. This is the FRN. This is a 10-digit number that every owner operation of a station has. And this is the number that you normally use when you do license renewal or when you go online to pay your annual license fee. You have to have that number. So find that number and write that number down along with your username and password. Thirdly, make sure you have the call letters and the facility ID for each station that you're going to file a Form 1. Now, every station has to file a Form 1, AM, FM, and television, and unless you are a Class D FM. That's one of the FMs, non-commercial, that operates with less than 10 watts. If you have multiple stations, you'll have to fill out a Form 1 for each one of those. So have the call letters and the facility ID. Now, there's one exception to that. If you own a station that feeds programming to another station, and 100% of that programming of your main station is rebroadcast on the other station, the second station, then you do not have to fill out a Form 1 for that one. But it must be 100% of the programming from the main one, which has an EAS device. You do have to file Form 1 for the main station, but not for the second one or third one or fourth one, however many that you might have. And then finally, make sure that you have the make and the model of your EAS equipment, whether it's a Dasdaq or a Sage or a Gorman Redlick. Make sure that you have the make and model number along with the current software version that that particular device is operating. If you write all those things down ahead of time, that will really make it a lot easier for you to go in and fill out the form. Let's switch over here and we'll actually show you how you go about uh, logging in, and we'll walk through the form itself. If you just go to your web browser, and we'll go up and type in simply fcc.gov. That will take you to the FCC website, and this will be the home website. The thing that you will look at, there's a blue bar, not the dark blue bar, but the sort of the middle blue bar. And as you scroll across, you'll see there are several headings, and each time you hover over one with your mouse, another drop-down box will come up. The one that you want to go to is licensing and database. And then you can scroll down and you'll see on the top row, third one across, one says ETRS. This is the one you want to click on to get to the form. So we'll go ahead and click on this one. That opens up the actual page for the ETRS system. The site that you want to go into, or the part of this page you want to go to, is already highlighted here with a little arrow. There are some other drop-down boxes in here, but this is the one we want here. So simply scroll down close to the bottom, and it says ETRS login. And there are 3 links. If you know your username and your password, then you would use this link. If you have never filed a Form 1, then you will have to set up a new registration, and this would be the link that you would click on here to set up a new account. If you've forgotten your password, then there's a link here that you can click on that you can go and reset your password. But hopefully you remember and know what your username and password is. So just simply click on that link that's located there by the login. This will bring you to the start page where Form 1 is. And it's coming up, FCC user. And what you need to do is enter your username that you've written down along with your password, enter that, and then click on sign in. And this will take you over to the actual form. The first thing that you'll actually see on the form is submit Form 1 or submit Form 2 and 3. Now, as we said earlier, this is all associated with FEMA issuing the national test that they do every year. Form 2 and 3 are actually not filled in until they actually run the test. The day of the test, you fill out Form 2, and then after that, you can fill out Form 3. This has to do with whether or not you received the test and relayed it correctly. But what we're wanting to do is actually fill out Form 1. So you click on Form 1. There's Form 1, and we'll scroll down. And the first thing that you want to do is click on the correct test cycle. And you would click over in this box. And obviously, we're going to fill out Form 1 for 2023. So just select Form 1 for that particular date. The next thing is you want to select the FRN. That's what you wrote down a while ago in your notes, is what the FRN is. So you click on the drop-down box, and here you may already see some up. And I know that this particular station here is this number here, 00199626604. So we'll go ahead and click on that. Now, this is actually a station in Alabama, and there's no sensitive information on this form, so don't worry about that. We're just using this as a demo. So that's the actual FCC registration number. Then the next box that comes up is the EAS participant type. Again, click on the drop-down box. If you're radio, you would click radio. If you're television, you'd click television. That's all there is to it. Just click on radio broadcaster and that will come in. The next box is where you actually enter your facility ID. And let me get the facility ID here, and I'll actually enter this one in. This one is 43534. That facility ID is actually on your license. And so as soon as you enter that in, it should self-populate. And it did. It brought up the call letters, so you know that you typed in the right one. Now let's continue on down through the form, and you can see how it's already self-populated itself. But what you need to do, and be very mindful of this, walk down through it and make sure that all this information is correct. The city, the county, the state information, the legal name of the owner of the station. And you can continue on down the here we go into the emergency alert system. If all this is okay, then you would come into here. Now it says, what is the make and model of your EAS equipment? There's another drop-down box that you click on, and this particular station we know is running a SAGE alerting system model 3644. If you're running a DASDEC, here's the DASDECs. If you're running TFT or Trilithic, some of the others, Gorman Redlick, you would select the one that you're doing. The 3644 is the blue SAGE. So if that's what you're running, you just click on that and you see it will actually put it into the box. The next box it asks for is, what is the software version? The current software version that you should be running is revision 95, and this is a security patch number, CR revision 6. So if you look on your in your setup of your device, it will actually show you what the software version is and any kind of security patch that you may have. So you can click on it. This shows some of the older ones, and hopefully you're not running those in this age, because those are outdated. So if you're running the most current revision 95 CR revision 6, you can click on that. If you had clicked on like a DASDEC, it would show the versions for that, and Gorman Redlick, it would show the version for that. So we'll click there. So here you have the correct make and model, and then it will come down and show the version right here. Now it will actually say none in this drop down box, but that's okay because it actually puts it down here. Now you can actually go, there's some that over the past years that you may have clicked on before, and this is the one that you're actually running here, SAGE alerting system. Now I'm using SAGE example because that's what we clicked on, but you can actually click on and get rid of those if you want to, just to clean it up a little bit. And there you have, you're running a 3644 version 95 with that security patch. Now it will ask you, if you click on the drop-down box here, it will ask you if you are a LP1, if you're a national primary, a participating national, if you're state primary, if you're state relay, whatever the case may be. This particular station is actually a local primary, and it's a local primary 1. So we're going to release this one because we don't need it. But you can click on there and see if you're not a state relay or local primary, then you would click on participating national, which is this one right here. If you're local primary, then you would select the one that is for you. It also asks you, is your monitored source missing? You can actually go in and find out about that. It will then ask you, as you continue down, of your 2 monitor sources. What are the monitor sources that you're monitoring with your EAS equipment? And there are drop-down boxes that you can click on, and it will show, you can start typing something and it will actually bring them up as you type. This particular station is monitoring Alabama Public Television and WINL. So just make sure that those are your monitor source 1 and monitor source 2 that's hooked up to your device. If you have changed monitor sources, then when you drop down the box, you can actually start typing a call letter, and it will automatically pop up in a alphabetical order, and you can pick the one that you do. They ask you, are either of these sources monitored pursuant to a commission waiver? And that would be no. So just leave that drop box. Just click on make sure it's selected as no. Any other monitor sources? If you are one of the stations in the state that has a GSS satellite system, you can actually enter that. And let's see if that will let us put this in this one. This station actually here, global security, GSS net. That's what we want. So we'll click on that, and it will show that they're also monitoring the global security network satellite system. If you're not a station that has a downlink, then you can actually just leave that blank. The next question, does the equipment monitor FEMA IPAWS? Hopefully that you do. That comes down every Monday at 11 o'clock. So make sure on the drop down box there that you have yes selected. Primary language, most of them will be in English. Again, there's a drop down box for that. Then you need to know what geographical zone that you're in. You can go, if you don't know what zone that you're in, you can go on the ABA website and click on the EAS tab and see the monitoring assignments and go down, and they're listed by counties down at the end of the monitoring list, and see what county you're in. And then when you go to the drop down box, it will actually populate it, and we'll click and see. It shows a bunch of them in here, but as you begin to type them, and all of our 9 zones in Alabama start with Alabama region and then a number past that. So you can go and find your correct zone on the ABA website under the EAS tab and put that in. Then as you move on down, it'll ask you the latitude and longitude of your transmitter location. Hopefully that's already populated. One thing to take a note of on the longitude, make sure there's a negative sign next to it. That indicates that you're west longitude, that particular number. If you don't have a negative sign by there, it will actually warn you that that's wrong, because if you don't have the negative sign, it will think that you're east of the meter, and then your transmitter will be out in the middle of the ocean somewhere. So make sure that you have a negative sign there. The transmitter city, where the transmitter is located, make sure all that information is still correct. Sure you haven't moved your transmitter over the last couple of years. Then this is information, just the address of the station, the street address and the town, and then the contact information of who is actually filing this information, the name and their phone number, and information about that. The day of contact information, that's who is going to be responsible when FEMA runs the test, who's going to be responsible to make sure that it ran correctly so that you can fill out Form 2. And that's really all there is to it. When you come down, you have to remember to click on this certify information. And you click on this and it says, okay, everything on this information form is accurate. And then all you have to do is click on submit Form 1. And when you click on Form 1, if there is any errors, it will actually come up and say, you do have an error. All right, this came up and said you submitted EAS test record. And so you can actually, in a few minutes, you will get an email from the FCC indicating that it has actually been filed. And it also starts right here that'll show that it's been filed as well. So it's a pretty easy form because it's already filled out. All you have to do is just walk through and make sure that everything is accurate, especially if you have moved your EAS equipment. I know there's a number of stations that have decided to move their EAS out to the transmitter, that's legal. You can sure do that if you wish, but make sure that you go in and make a note of where the EAS equipment is, and make sure that the information is correct on the form. So that sort of gives you a rundown on what the what is required as far as filling it out, making sure that you have all the stuff available on the form, and it's all correct. If you have any questions, and let's see, we'll switch over here and see if this doesn't come up for us, and we'll walk through a couple of slides here, and it actually has an address that you can use. Let's see here. I actually went to the wrong slide. Let me go back over to this one and me share, which is right here. This is the one I want. There we go. We'll walk through these. These are the versions that we talked about earlier that you should be running. DesDec runs right now 4.0. Some stations running 5.0. Sage is running version 95, and Goldman Redlick has version 2.8.0.4. So that's how that goes. Right here is where we want to go to. And here's an address here, an email address. So if you have any questions, just drop me an email and we'll help you through that. We thank you for watching, and please let us know if we can be of any assistance. Thank you for watching.